Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Oscar Semoyam Soke, and this morning we have several topics for discussion. In the studio, I have Honorable Semuju in a suit. Good morning, Honorable Semuju.
Yes, Oscar, good morning.
At which party are you headed?
No, I was coming to Capital Gang.
Moses Berhanga, do you believe that?
No.
Does he have to? Yeah.
That I don't believe.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to believe. Okay. Clearly. And very smart, by the way. If no one has told you, you are very dapper today.
Thank you.
And I have a gentleman from UNOC, Uganda National Oil Company. He's an engineer, Mr. Rashid Otika. He heads the downstream trading and operations. Let's begin with that one. What does that mean, heading downstream trading and operations?
Thank you, Oscar. Good morning, everyone who's listening in to us. And good morning again, Semuju and Bierohanga. So, head of downstream trading, just to add before I go to that, I'm also acting as the general manager of the National Pipeline Company, which is a subsidiary of UNOC, Uganda National Oil Company. So, what we handle under the National Pipeline Company is downstream trading, pipeline development and operations, and terminals development and operations. So, in the substantive position of head of downstream trading and operation, it means that the downstream trading business as well as terminals operations are under my oversight.
We haven't understood you.
Yeah, he has actually said nothing.
I've even written them down. So let's go slowly.
Yes.
Before we go to, because the question was so simple.
Maybe I've said
what is
too much.
Downstream trading?
Okay,
then
so-
you went into no, hold on. I'm going to take it one by one.
Okay.
Then you said you're a general manager, pipeline what?
Acting general manager of the National Pipeline Company.
Okay, but we don't have a pipeline. But you are the acting general manager of a pipeline.
Subsidiary of Uganda.
Hold on, do we have a pipeline?
We are developing a pipeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, of a pipeline that we are developing,
He's
you are
acting
the
manager of an existing.
this is what I was thinking. Then you are also in charge of Moses. You are supposed to be on his side. So
No,
be
but
nice.
Moses has people outside
Eh,
that he wants to understand.
understand. Now let's go to a terminal. Do we have a terminal?
It is being built. Oh, it
No.
will actually.
So the government
It is not being built.
The government of Uganda owns the Jinja storage terminal, which is a 30 million capacity terminal,
Right.
of which it handles
That's
20
the storage facility.
in Jinja.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, what I want to, maybe you haven't introduced me. First introduce me.
No, I haven't introduced you
You
yet.
have introduced yourself.
I haven't introduced- but Mr. Tika, so the terminal now belongs to government or now belongs to UNOC?
But UNOC is government.
National Oil Company
Yes.
is wholly owned by the government of Uganda.
So the terminal now is owned by UNOC.
The terminal is owned by the government of Uganda
It was
and
repossessed.
operated currently by UNOC.
By UNOC. Okay. Now those two you have finished. Now the next one is head of downstream trading and
Oscar,
operations.
He hasn't finished.
No. We just needed the description.
The reason I'm saying he hasn't finished. He's not using everyday language because
Is that
what
a-
he calls the terminal is just a storage facility.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay.
So let him use the everyday English for everybody to understand.
That's okay. Now we go to
For us, we are from
downstream trading and operations. What is downstream trading?
Thank you,
Oscar.
and Honorable. So, in terms of storage of petroleum products, when you have a storage facility that is inland without connection to either a lake or other logistical facilities, it's called a depot. when you have a storage facility that has a potential access to either a lake or a sea, it's called a terminal. So that's why the Ginger
is referred to as a terminal. Okay. Do you have a depot as well?
Currently, no.
Currently, no.
Yeah.
But you plan to have one?
We intend to develop another terminal at the in PG in Namwambula. It will be a 320 million liter facility connected with around 200 kilometer pipeline to the proposed or planned Uganda refinery.
Okay.
So that's what we intend to do, to develop.
In what year?
It's called the Kampala Storage Terminal, and we expect the feasibility study for that facility to be done within the first half of next year. And the reason I'm saying this is because we have contractualized it in the supply arrangement that we have today.
Okay.
Yes. So
what do you call the one in Garuga, the one that belongs to, what is the company? Is that a terminal as well?
Yes, it is a terminal.
It is a terminal. Yeah. Okay. So, and then over to downstream trading and operations?
So downstream trading involves sourcing of petroleum products from supply sources overseas, arranging for the logistics and transportation into Uganda and selling to oil marketing companies. So it's an end-to-end. Operation involving sourcing of the product, arranging for its logistical handling up to the point of sale to the oil marketing companies. That's downstream trading. Downstream operations involve interfacing with the logistical service providers or your own logistical infrastructure to service then the distribution of the product to the oil marketing companies, but in bulk. Yeah.
So nice. So welcome to Gang, Mr. Moses Byaruhanga, Senior Presidential Advisor. You have a question on what the gentleman does? Because I still have very many questions for him.
You see, these people in the oil sector, they talk of upstream, downstream,
midstream.
Now, for the thing everybody knows their streams. So, in simple terms, are you saying downstream? Because now, if you're talking about now importation, that's downstream. But when you're talking about the oil, like now,
I think Enoch is mostly downstream.
So, what's upstream? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What they call it, like the activities in the oil sector now.
You know,
which one is upstream, which one is downstream?
Okay. Thank you.
I don't want him to go there too much. I want him to focus on his work.
No, these streams.
You want to finish the streams first.
Maybe I can give it a minute.
Okay, give it a minute.
So, UNOC operates in the whole petroleum value chain end to end. So upstream, in a layman's language, is where the oil is explored and
exploration.
So exploration is upstream.
Yes, explored, and you can say
trading it to Semuju to put in his car is downstream.
Exploring it and producing it, then taking it to the refinery. Now refinery and the pipeline, those are midstream. You are now into logistics and production. Downstream is where now you are interfacing with the market.
Okay.
Downstream, from what we visibly see, the retail station.
What is up?
Exactly. Yeah.
As Samuju says, those are terms too. But generally speaking, UNOC deals with the actual mafta, with the fuel when you have got it. There. Do you remember in those days, everyone would say, where at that Shell, they meant a petrol station, but they'd call it at the Shell. Now we'll say at that UNOC. So, UNOC, you've been given Uganda's fuel. Over last two shows, we have discussed why and so on, and it looks very, very good on paper. but we know in Uganda how we can make things go wrong. So when is your operation starting?
Thank you, Oscar. When you say UNOC has been given Ugandan oil, let me just go back a bit. So on 14th of November, Parliament of Uganda passed a bill, which is the Petroleum Supply Amendment Bill 2023. And that bill is intended to empower UNOC to be the sole importer of petroleum products destined to Uganda. And this word importer, if you allow me to, let me just add a sentence or two. Before the single customs territory launched by URA in 2013, importation of petroleum products was seen at the border crossing. With the single customs territory now, importation means landing the product in Mombasa or Dar es Salaam. And that's why it is at that point that the duty is paid. The moment you land petroleum products in Mombasa, destined for Uganda, you pay duty. So what UNOC is going to be doing is to bring the product up to Mombasa or Dar es Salaam, destined for the Ugandan market. And that product will be belonging to the oil marketing companies in Uganda. So once the product lands in Mombasa, Total, Vivo, Starbucks, name them, City Oil, will have allocated share of whatever vessel comes in there, and then they will arrange to transport that product into Uganda, and which means they will pay the excess duty. Once the product has landed in Mombasa, it's coming into Uganda, and then they will import the product into Uganda. So importation, I thought I should clarify that, because there's a misconception that UNOC is going to bring the product all the way to Uganda. Our responsibility stops at the importation structures within Kenya and Tanzania, and then the oil marketing companies continue to import the same way they've been doing from the respective countries into Uganda. So
clarification. The system has been, when the oil reaches Mombasa, the traders in Kampala pick it from Eldoret. But we're now talking of it comes in a pipeline up to Eldoret. That's where they pick it from.
Yes.
But they're now saying they are going to pick it themselves from Mombasa. So is the pipeline getting out?
So Eldoret is the exit. So the product is allocated to you from Mombasa, but you pick it from Eldoret. And thank you very much for that clarification. So the oil marketing companies will continue picking most of their product from Eldoret and Kisumu. Although sometimes, if there are challenges, they go and load from either Nairobi or all the way to Mombasa. What has been happening is that today, as we speak, Uganda oil marketing companies allocate their requirements to a Kenyan affiliate or a nominated entity. That Kenyan affiliate then consolidates with its own requirement within Kenya. We're using Kenya just for purpose of explanation. Consolidates and puts in a pool where it is now tendered out. Once that product is tendered out in lots of vessels, each vessel that is delivered in Mombasa is then shared out to those Kenyan oil marketing companies in a ratio of 60-40. 60 meaning is what you consume within Kenya, and 40 is for transit to Uganda. Now, it is that 40 that then the Ugandan oil marketing company picks from the Kenyan oil marketing company. But just like it happens with all systems, businessmen find positioning. So you find that sometimes that 40 is bought by another Kenyan oil marketing, a portion of that 40 is bought by another Kenyan oil marketing companies, and because the product was bought based on the demand has remained in Uganda, it's needed. So the Ugandan oil marketing company ends up buying from a third Kenyan oil marketing company. So you have mainly two, but now you've introduced a third layer. And what this bill and law, once the president assents to it, is trying to do is that, we are positioning ourselves to interface with the trading entity that brings the product from the refineries, so that we then eliminate the Kenyan oil marketing companies who, by the way, everyone who handles this product puts a margin for themselves because they have to recover their costs and they have to make a profit. So we believe that by eliminating those two and sometimes three intermediaries, that saving, we want to bring it home. We want to bring it home in form of revenue for UNOC, in form of a saving on the cost, which we believe will then be transferred to the pump for Ugandans to enjoy the difference.
Excuse me, Rashid, just to, you've caused a lot of confusion in the few words you've given so far. So we had, there's a parliamentary resolution, a parliamentary bill to give UNOC power to be the fuel transporter, so to speak. A fuel supplier.
I think let's use the word supplier to the oil marketing companies.
Good. Yes. Supplier. At the same time, UNOC should be working with a middle manager, so to speak, called Vitol.
Okay. Vitol is the supplier.
Vitol is the supplier.
Yes.
So Vitol is going to supply to UNOC.
Yes.
To take out all the other people you are talking about.
Yeah. So let me allow me to just give the structure today. So you have a refinery that refines the product, and by nature, refineries want continuity of production. So for you to buy fuel from the refinery, you must commit an annual demand and also stake in some kind of guarantee, an annual demand. Now, Uganda consumes around 2.5 billion liters a year. So which means if you are to go to the refinery, that is your order. You're ordering that next year, and normally it's done by November. Next year, I'm going to take 2.5 billion liters from you.
No,
for the next year. For next year. So the refiner will want you to guarantee
the 1 year.
So that you don't jump out of that commitment. Okay? Which means not everyone can do that. 2.5 billion liters. And by the way, if you look at the costing of the product, it's close to $2.2 billion. Yeah, so for you to commit that ahead of time, before you even start picking it, you must be solid financially. That's why...
And Uganda is not.
No, we're talking about UNOC.
No, I'm not.
That's why... so that's why...
You already said UNOC is Uganda.
Yes.
Now don't jump out of it.
No, now we're into business. So that's why if anyone comes and tells you, I can go to a refinery, then they don't understand this business. Now, it's those traders that now interface with the refinery that find the markets where, even before they commit, they first find the markets where they're going to. So for today, let's talk about Kenya. So Kenya, you have three companies: Saudi Aramco Trading, ADNOC for Abu Dhabi Trading, and ENOC Trading. They are the ones that commit to their refineries that we are going to take
so much fuel.
8 cargoes of fuel. Each cargo is around 100 million liters to the East African market. Now, those three companies, what the Kenyan government has done, it has allocated 3 Kenyan importing companies. But for purposes of not confuse, let's say Kenyan suppliers now. Now, those 3 companies are the ones that now buy from the Saudi Aramcos. Yeah? We have
so why
Guyana.
are they saying government to government if it is Kenyan 3 suppliers?
No, it's because
Kenya was sloganeering.
Okay, I think let's go. I think let's go with the facts.
Yes.
If you allow me to.
Yes.
So the government was involved in these engagements. Yeah, where they replaced the earlier system, which was an open tender system done monthly. Yeah. So these 3 companies, which is Galana, Gulf, and Oryx, then bring the product into Mombasa. Now, when that product comes into Mombasa, they sell it to the Kenyan oil marketing companies in the ratios I talked about. Yeah, in the ratios I talked about. Now, what UNOC is doing after a successful trial of the business since 2020 and analyzing the challenges that oil marketing companies were facing, we have positioned ourselves to now replace the Galana, Gulf, and Oryx, so that we are the importers into Mombasa, right? So which means because we cannot put $2.1 billion to the refiner, we need someone who can support us. And if you look at our mission, our growth, I'll come to that. Our growth is...
I only have your microphone
Yes.
on, so...
Yes, our growth, strategically, we intend to grow with strategic partners who can enhance our capabilities. Now, what Vitol will do, since you've mentioned Vitol and it's our partner, Vitol will then will then sell the product to UNOC. Yeah, UNOC lands the product in Mombasa. UNOC sells to Vivo, Total, name them. All the oil marketing companies in Uganda. What we'll have then done, like I mentioned, we're now dealing directly with the oil marketing companies in Uganda. So it's because of the economies of scale and the financial muscle you must have that UNOC today is
using
not able
Vitol
to interface.
So do you have a timeline when you'll go direct to not using Vitol?
When
you're going to wait for Uganda production and then stop using Vitol?
So when the initial government policy change directive came in March, our target was to start in June of this year. So we went and interfaced with the Kenyan government in April, and the feedback that Kenya gave was, we've just entered a new agreement and we've signed up. It's 9 months. If you pull out your volumes, it's going to cause us some challenges. So because of the good bilateral relationship between Uganda and Kenya, the government of Uganda accepted and said, okay, let's allow you up to December, when the 9 months end, so that we will start our importation in January. So our target was to start importation of the petroleum products as UNOC from January. But Kenya has put up a structure where you have to comply, and it's out of the risk they've analyzed. So for you to import as a Ugandan oil marketing company product through Kenya, you must first register in Kenya. After registering in Kenya, you must get a license to import a petroleum product. After getting the license, then you must sign a transportation and storage agreement with the pipeline company. Now, because of these three critical issues, it has taken us time. And we're not able to achieve the timelines, because for you to import in January, you must commit your demand by 20th of October. So we missed that timeline. So 20th of November, we've missed that timeline. Our expectation is, and we're targeting to make sure by 15th of December, we have resolved the challenges we're facing in Kenya, so that we're able to confirm our first order with Vitol for delivery from February. So in terms of timelines, we expect to start the imports from February of next year.
But in terms of timelines, you're kind of out of it, because as you informed us, the orders must be made by October of the previous year. So that's Vitol's business.
No, for us to be able to import from January, from February, we need to confirm our demand with Vitol by 15th of December.
That's in 2 weeks' time.
15th of December.
Is about 2-3 weeks away.
Yeah, we trust that we have had the right stakeholder engagements and preparations, and we are within
time. So
within time.
Just on the Kenya thing, and Mr. Otika, hold on the Kenya thing. These people that you've put out, the ones that you would give us a 40% or 20% or whatever, have gone to court.
Yeah.
Does that have any effect on your work?
Of course it does, because I mean, we were told.
What do you mean? Of course it does. Moses has been telling me all along that as a landlocked country, we have right of way.
Yes, the reason why it does.
International law.
Yes, under international law.
The reason why.
Go on.
The reason why it does is because, and for your information, we had a delegation of government officials from Kenya who visited us the day before yesterday. And also yesterday we had the Kenya Pipeline Company. We had discussions. So They explained to us that the way the constitution works in Kenya, anyone, even if not involved in the business, can take you to court. And normally with court cases, you have to appear and defend your position. Otherwise, a ruling can come against you. But we've been given assurance by the Kenyan government, and they've been high level discussions. High level
let him finish what he's saying.
High level discussions.
Let him just finish his
high level
line.
discussions between the two presidents. They've discussed, and we've been given assurance that the court case will be managed.
Yeah.
The hearing is on 6th, and the expectation is either to pull it out of court or to defend a position, because you see, we are a sovereign state. We are entitled to access the sea. We are entitled to utilize the pipeline. But of course, you have to go. You have to go and defend yourself.
Okay.
In court.
And just finally, before Honorable Samju comes on with the question, then what about that trading license on two ways? How, if it's international, we have right of way. Then why are we required to license? And why are we required to pay for transportation? So of course, we've had a lot of discussion around that, and we were guided by the Office of the Attorney General of Uganda.
Yes, of Uganda, because in his wisdom, of course, we're not supposed to get license. We're not supposed to register in Kenya. But you see, issues of law and constitution, when you go to court, you waste time. So we're advised, comply for now so that you can start. We'll come back to this case tomorrow. But what we've also done for information is that we're also exploring how we can enhance the Tanzanian route, so that at least we are not reliant 100% on the Kenyan route. What happens today is that around 90% of imports of our demand, which is 210 million liters a month, come through Kenya. 10% comes through Tanzania. Of course, Tanzanian route, because it's a bit longer, it has some challenges, but those are the things we're analyzing now, so that there can be some government-to-government engagement to see how can we reduce that logistical difference to make the product still competitive once it lands into Kampala or Uganda.
Okay. Honorable Semju, you have questions, comments, please make them now.
Let me start with the small matter. Uganda has a Uganda House in Nairobi. We were sending money to the embassy to renovate it because it had been condemned by the council in Nairobi. Tenants went to court, said, no, you can't demolish. We are still here. It has taken us more than, I think now, 15 years to sort out tenants in Kenya for the construction to start. We were sending money to the embassy every year because it was supposed to be a multi-year, but it couldn't start. I went there with a committee on public accounts, and you are told, no, in Kenya, tenants have a right that you must guarantee.
Even in Uganda.
Even after. No, the rights are not the same. I have seen here people demolish their houses and tenants are given notice to leave. In Kenya, it's not as simple as that. So we went for 15 years. We are unable.
So how are you linking it to this discussion today?
I am talking about the people who have gone to court in Kenya. They are trying to sort it out government to government, but Kenya has told them, here people have a right, whether they are involved or not, they can go to court. And that's why the explanation they are offering to Parliament, they also had they said if it doesn't start, then we will do this as it starts. So the point I want to make is that at this point, they are not sure that that deadline will be met and they will be the one to take over, because that importation has been taking place. What UNOCO is seeking to do is just to take over what the others have been doing. And I wish them well. I'm not sure they will succeed by the date they have set themselves. But for me, the point which Namfuka we're sharing with Namfuka here, the consumer of the petroleum product is more interested in the prices than in who is involved. Even if you have 20 million people who are involved, and the price is
of petrol comes down to
yes,
3,500.
it does not concern me. That's what I asked government people the other time when they were here. That I want you to begin your conversation that today we buy petrol at 5,600. Come January, it will reduce by 500.
If only.
Yeah. No, I am just imagining. Even if it is 500, even if it's 200, 200 is times the to an individual it may not be too much, but multiplied by the billions 2.5, you said, we use every year, it will be some money.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the conversation I wanted to hear, and I still want to hear from government that there is now a guarantee. Start January, you guys celebrate, you will now enjoy 500 less when you go to fuel your vehicle. That guarantee is not coming out from any one of them, but they have a narration of so their interest,
how much money they will save and so on.
Yeah. So their interest therefore becomes an interest of just taking what the others have been taking, not of helping the public on whose behalf they are transacting this business. And that's why at the beginning they were saying we are moving from T to T, now G to G. From trader to trader, now government to government.
Now it is from V to U.
Now it is
Vitol to Unok.
And all the Ugandan conversations are like that. Oscar, you don't know how much advertising this government done around Chogam. Told people, you grow cabbage, you grow everything. The visitors are coming here. So these visitors in Uganda, it is a one-off in a lifetime. And then people started growing cabbage and dodo. There were no people to eat them. So I am suspicious. On the paper, it sounds a very good deal that you're going to eliminate 2 layers in our petroleum supply, and that elimination comes with a saving. Really, you will be mad to say it is bad. Okay. But there are no guarantee for me to begin the early celebration. So can this guy set, yes, can he set the early celebration?
They hold on. Nafi haven't introduced you yet, so you cannot speak. So even Ivan have not introduced you, so you cannot speak. So over to you, Moses. Semuju, you know, when Semuju presents in that manner, there are things he has forgotten. You know, needs the bigger reassurance more than even the cost that the fuel will be here. Because if I get it wrong, there will be a problem. Remember that the Kenya riots and what happened? That really is a bigger issue, and it is bigger than, you know, it comes to your desk in State House, Moses Berahanga. Because if on the 20th of January we have no fuel, it is really a security issue.
He said February, not January.
Oh, sorry. If on the 1st of March there's no fuel, then there's going to be a security issue.
Well, thank you, Oscar and colleagues in the studio. First of all, I want to start by saying that the bill, as amended by Parliament, has been assented to. The President signed it on Thursday. Yeah, so that's done.
So, Mr. Rashid Otika, you know, there are some things we know more than you do. So now you know it is signed.
Yes. You didn't know. Yes. So the bill has been assented to.
It's very good.
Now, in the respects to the questions raised by Honorable Semuju, well, it's not easy to say the price will be less by this because the pump price is also determined by the international price. Today, a barrel could be at $80, then tomorrow it could be 90, it could be, so that one changes. So you cannot say the price will change by this. That will be a wrong assumption. Not
if it
really.
changes for you, if the guarantee is 500 shillings, it means whether the international market has changed.
I don't know what business Semuju has ever done, but that's another matter. You see,
I am a beneficiary.
Because in businesses of this nature, first of all, there's an international price. That's one. Two, there's the price of the car. No,
Oscar.
When you do,
You see, Moses is trying to sound smart. Just tell me at the current international price, this is what will happen.
Listen,
So you don't hide under that.
And between the two of you, you are focusing on a very small matter. And I'll tell you why it's a small matter. Mr. Otika here has already said that within the 40% there were middle people, and that is what Semuju is saying. Maybe that's where you can reduce. But you continue off that one and then go to the one I asked you directly.
Off that one, but I wanted it to be clear for Semuju and others that the business Semuju has done maybe doesn't involve international actors. Here you are looking at the international price of fuel. That's one. Two, you have to look. You have to look at the price of $1. If $1 tomorrow is 3.8 or it goes 4,000.
Some of you have allowed Moses to be the evangelist. Those are not the topics I want to put to Unok.
No, but he raised them on
and we've answered him. So let's go to Unok business.
Okay.
The price. If he has if he has nothing to say about Unok, why don't you allow him to say what he has?
The price is determined by other factors.
But Unok is reducing the other factors. That's why he may be right in saying bring it down. The question is the issue of security. Will Unok deliver the fuel here?
It will deliver the fuel. There's no doubt about that. Because Mr. Otika has told you that there are measures that if the deal is not able to take off, at least we continue with the old system until the new system takes off. So it will be a seamless transaction from one system to the other. In case
we have a long distrust of Ugandan business taking on big scales. Our next topic is UCC allowing telcos to cut off phones anytime they wish. So this is the problem. This is the problem we have with Ugandan companies.
I have no problem. We shall consider having fuel. Either way, either through old system or new system, we shall have fuel. So we shall have fuel. There shouldn't be a problem. On some of the issues you raised, Mr. Otika talked about them. There has been good bilateral communication between the two presidents, and we are sure some of the issues being raised will be handled at that level.
Okay, thank you. Ivan Rugamba, most welcome to Gang. Do you worry about how Unok will operate? You know, fuel theft is also equally rampant from suppliers. I used to buy water, Honorable Semuju. And when you buy a water truck, 10,000, you might actually receive 8,000 liters. Because, you know, they siphon off as, yes, and after they've given you 8,000, there's a balance that's given to someone else. There's that security as well. And Unok is a baby company. How do they have a fleet? Do those things worry you? Of course, Mr. Otika can speak to them.
Companies will pick from Mombasa.
From Eldoret.
Okay.
Oscar, transitions of any kind are often they are often unpredictable, and that is why some of us have been hesitant to support some of those supported by the Semujus and the ones that are not clear.
But Honorable Semuju, as we say in Uganda, everyone should speak slowly. I recently found out that my national ID expires. Who can you imagine? I didn't know.
You should have turned to the back immediately you got it.
So at some point next year, I'm not going to be Ugandan.
So you can see that the problem sometimes is a function of ignorance. Sometimes,
no, it's a function of your companies.
On the card,
how do you have an expiry? Whose thinking was that?
We'll come now into that, but you have to update certain features of those systems.
In 3-4 years,
10 years.
But let's concentrate on
it's 10 years.
Your time is coming.
Let's stay on the subject. So so transitions of energy cannot be that 100% predicted.
So you support them, but in government you don't.
But what the Unok is suggesting is a good thing. You see, but I want to agree with Semuju on one thing. You see, when the argument for this transition was being made, there was a clear argument that, look, when government of Kenya ditched the open tender system and went government to government, the cost per metric ton of the petroleum imports jumped from from $35 to around $118, which is almost triple, and which caused the spike in some of the prices we are seeing on the market here. And so that was a good foundation argument for saying, look, this system has hiked the cost, and therefore we need to review it. So what Simju is saying is that correspondingly then the argument should start with saying, now that we ditched this one, we expect, even if it is not a guarantee, because like Nafco was saying, it should be put into law, it cannot be put into law, that's a business experiment. But at least you can say our estimate,
you can make a promise.
That our estimate is that after this system, the price is going to decline to this and this level. The one argument that government has been making, and is the returns in terms, I think, in terms of tax and revenue to UNOC as a company, or the revenue to government. So the consumer is not being given a clear incentive, and I think that is what UNOC and the other people should speak to. That while the argument for government has been noted, that government now will eliminate this middleman, and now government will go into the business and will take the cut that was going to the middleman. So, but what comes to the consumer? That is the argument that needs to be made. That's the first point. The second point, the second point is that for the primary, last weekend on the show, I say that the priority for such a strategic resource as petroleum products or as fuel, the priority should be constant, reliable supply of of the product first and foremost. The second will be the cost. So for now, there have been grumbles about the price at the pump. But for a longest period, Uganda has not had a problem with supply. It's been a while. It's never. There's not been a crisis. It's been a while. I think the last time I think we had some sort of worry was 2007-2008 at the height of the Kenya post-election violence. So we have had at least reliable supply of fuel. So on the function of predictability and reliability, the Ugandan consumer has not been complaining. So UNOC has to get that act right, because the crisis of scarcity is much worse than the crisis of cost. Cost. You see, the pump price jumped from about 3,000 to about 5,000 over the last 3 years. But Ugandans have taken that and they have absorbed the cost. But the function, the question of scarcity is not an option. Not an option for so that they must get right.
Thank you.
And so finally, then we will go to. The final point I wanted to make is also on the question of the legalese that are happening in Kenya. You see, one of the things I have learned following Kenyan politics, I think over the last 10 years, is that they have such an unpredictable legal environment that not even a strategic... You remember last year the Uhuru government, before it left, had this building bridges initiative, which the transition was predicated upon, the transition from Uhuru to... So it was in the strategic interest of government in such a way that everything was hinged on that. But the government lost that last case. Government of Kenya has lost so many cases where it is of very strategic necessity to the government of Kenya itself. So the idea that they can guarantee government, they can guarantee government of Uganda's interest in Kenyan courts is not something you can take to the bank.
I think you're right. Uganda government has also lost many cases. Here as well.
But what I'm saying is,
even in budgets they put in monies for compensation and so on. But I'll just give you an example. I'm trying to find a recent example where they say the DPP has taken over this case.
But what I'm saying is that if government of Kenya can lose cases of such strategic importance to the government of the day. It is
Ivan,
it is not a
Ivan, you've not
commitment you can take
listened
to
to
the
me.
government.
When there are some cases they cannot lose.
You know. Okay, we will. But of course, we wish.
shall
What
see.
we
Let's
are
go to
saying,
Namfi.
what we are saying is that these are things that UNOC, that UNOC needs to have plan B, plan C.
Okay.
So contingencies.
Let them
not take it for granted. And
Nancy,
he's right.
your own microphone.
Oscar, I think he makes a
come
valid,
to the microphone.
He makes a valid point. We can't just take it for granted with Kenya, because unlike the Ugandan judiciary, which is really run by the executive, yes, the Kenyan judiciary actually has a certain level of independence. So you're not just going to get away with it.
You have to remind
don't
Nancy
forget
that
that
she's
these
a lawyer as
middlemen,
well.
like you're saying this is in the strategic interest of the Kenyans, because it's now government to government, of the Kenyan government. But remember also, Kenya is losing tax revenue from these middlemen. They are some of the biggest taxpayers in Kenya.
Well, they've gotten them to get licenses, which seems illegal, but the Attorney General is right in saying first get them and then fight them later.
Exactly. So
maybe this is about lost
Ivan,
income.
for once, makes a very valid point. We can't just take that for granted. He's in NRM. They usually don't, but we move. Oscar.
Namfi, let me also put to you, Ivan has a bit of Moses blood. So you take a non-issue and now you're validating it and you give it a lot of airtime. The bigger issue is, will UNOC manage? Are they up to it? That's what you need to address.
Oscar, we've been at this for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
You understand? Tell me, what has ever worked? What government initiative has ever worked in this government? One like this. Is it NADS, Bonabagagawale? Is it what? They don't. We wouldn't be the poorest.
Ivan is going to tell you NIRA.
NIRA, what a mess NIRA is every day. So
I think
what I'm saying is the government of the day, it's a brilliant idea on paper that we get a company, our very own UNOC, to be the supplier of fuel, the middleman, so to speak, and the prices go down. But Oscar, it's like telling us that everybody bring your child to Taiba, and then the prices of school fees will go down.
You know, I keep telling you, leave schools alone. In these discussions, leave schools alone.
And then we get there, in the third year, you hike the fees and say, oh, the food prices are higher. And then at that point, because now every school is Taiba, we no longer have any comparatives. Because if now, 3 years down the road, UNOC takes over as the middleman, the only middleman, what comparatives are we going to have to show that their prices are lower? This is hoodwinking us. This is Bioya Bianswa. We are being promised Bioya Bianswa. You understand? No.
Inform him.
You would inform me. Let me first make my point. So it is egregious of anybody to come and sit here and tell us, I am here, I am taking over, I'll become a monopoly, and then the prices will be better. No monopoly has ever made prices better, because that is the purpose of a monopoly. And this is not how monopolies work. We live in a capitalistic world at the end of the day. This is capitalism. So if UNOC and Vitol are holding us by the balls, what are the chances that they are going to...
This is a morning show. Please.
Sorry. Are holding us hostage by being a monopoly in this case. Trust me, 3-4 years down the road, they'll tell us there's Ukraine, there's COVID, there's a new one. And then at that point, they'll hike the prices. At some point, it will be at 10,000. But who is comparing?
Okay.
With who anyway? So for them to sit here and promise us that that is what we are getting from this as Ugandans, remove that and then start giving us other reasons for this. Because at the end of the day, you're messing up a huge part of the business community here. And I'm no supporter of the oil sector, because at the end of the day, these are people who over the years have been so unkind to Ugandans. We sit here and beg, why are the prices still high? Or it's COVID. Why are the prices still high? COVID has ended. Or it's the Ukraine. Then international money, the currencies, then Kenya, then Turkey. There is always an excuse, and not once, not even once has Moses and his ilk ever come out to protect us. And yet here they come to save us. Beware of people who come like that, because they never come with good intentions. This has Personal gain written all over it. Same group of people always wanting to make money at the cost of Ugandans. They come and couch this as a way of helping Ugandans. But in the end, a few people benefit and all of us are crying. And at that point, we even have a law that has bound us to this madness. And we can't easily just exit.
Thank you. So, Mr. Otika, NAFCA has gotten it all out. Your response, what is your take? You're having last word on this.
Okay, thank you very much, Oscar and colleagues here. I hear you. And let me start by first mentioning that in this business, the parties that interface with the market are the oil marketing companies, right? UNOC has had several engagements with the oil marketing companies. The first one was on 6th of December 2019. I remember very well. And recently, we've had engagements with them again on 26th of November, 30th of November, and 2nd. And they explained to us the challenges they are facing. For your information, by the way, because we started this trade, our concept trial in March, we have been buying product from Kenya and selling to the oil marketing companies in Uganda. As you know, from March of 2020.
Are your prices lower?
We have sold close
Let me switch off Nafi's
We have sold
microphone.
above 30 million liters to the leading oil marketing companies in Uganda. And Oscar, for me, what gives me so much...
Like you have trials. You've completed trials.
What gives me so much conviction on this is that we have sold to one of the most priced sensitive entities in Uganda as an oil marketing companies. They have been able to sell to other smaller oil marketing companies and they have remained competitive in the market. So for us to achieve that since 2020 to date, even today we are selling to them, has been testament that our business case makes sense. They requested only 3 things from us. Provided you can guarantee the oil marketing companies, guarantee us 3 things. 1, that your price will be competitive. And when we say competitive, in relation to any other product imports within the region. In our case, our comparison is going to be with whatever is brought for the Kenyan market, right? Secondly, guarantee us supply reliability. I hear you when you say we've not had supply challenges. Indeed, product has come in. But I want to say on that point, 3 things drive the price of product. 1, 3 fundamental things. 1 is the international market price, because at the end of the day, from wherever the product is coming from, and all this by they are published. So the international market price at which the product is bought contributes around 80% of the cost. 80%. That's the first thing. Second thing which drives the prices is supply and demand, because it does not matter at what price you bought. The moment someone realizes that there's going to be scarcity, of course they will hold on to their product because they're not sure at what price the new product will come in. They have to increase the price. The third thing is the forex rate, because I'll tell you, for example, in September, if I remember very well, exchange rate was around 3,730. Today,
it's lower.
No, it was high. It was high. It went up to 3,820. So you find that difference, in exchange rate, and also the difference in the international prices have a significant bearing on the product, on the price at which you get the product here. The third thing they asked us is and some of you just allow me. The third thing they asked us, guarantee us quality. Now, because of that, analyze its existing supply partners. We had 6, of which Vitol was one of them. And we said, you know what? This new mandate, which has been given to us by the government, and for your information, we signed a supply agreement with Vitol on 22nd of December 2020. That's when we signed the first agreement. The first transaction we did with Vitol was in January. But back to this point, so when you have price competitiveness, you have supply reliability and quality of product, the oil marketing companies are happy to sign on. But also, don't forget, the oil marketing companies in Uganda who have invested heavily, you see all these beautiful petrol stations here, and the challenge I mentioned of them having to buy from third parties within the supply chain
and poor quality
has
oil
cost them, is making it difficult for them to recoup their investment. What UNOC is going to do is, by taking out those intermediaries, is to guarantee the oil marketing companies in Uganda the price you're getting is referenced with the international prices. But secondly, we are not going to be increasing our margin because of supply and
because
demand
you're a government
dynamics.
entity. The three things you've said, we are going to commit them to you.
Those three things we have committed
availability, price, and good quality. That's what I take. So for you, final word, what do you take from this program?
And Oscar, just 1 minute. We have contractualized reliability and price competitiveness with our contract with Vitol. How? At any one time, and the beauty about this is that because it's in law, we are held accountable. At any one time, our product landed in Mombasa must be cheaper than what is brought for the Kenyan counterpart. So in terms of who am I going to reference, we have contractualized that. That's one thing. In terms of supply reliability, we have contractualized to make sure that the Ginger storage terminal is filled up with stocks, and also stocks are held up to 50 up to yeah, I'm coming to that.
No, we have run out of time.
Yeah, that's good.
Don't listen to him.
Up to 50 million liters is going to be held in Dar es Salaam, destined for UNOC to supply to oil marketing companies, and in the long term construct the Kampala storage terminal. Those should give supply reliability, and we believe that with that we'll normalize supplies so that there are no hikes in prices within the supply chain to affect the Ugandan. I want to assure all Ugandans that this bill has been passed with 5 principles. 1, mandate UNOC to be the importer. 2, authorize the minister at any one time, should UNOC have any challenges, which we'll see within the supply visibility, to nominate someone else to ensure supply continuity. 3, improve security of supply of product, and we're held accountable with this. 4, contribute to the reduction of prices in the market, and that's the commitment we are giving Ugandans. It has been
finally. Where can we read this from? On your website?
Now this is what is in the bill that has been passed.
To get those, to get those things, if I want to read about them, they're on your website. UNOC website.
Of course, anything to do
the
with
5 things
is normal with the ministry, because it's a ministry of energy that's responsible for policy and regulation, but also
you have www.unoc.co.ug.
Yes, now that it has been assented to, of course, it will be uploaded on our website so that Ugandans can read them and hold us accountable to them.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rashid Otika, for your appearance on Gang. Discussion will continue, of course.
The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
Try to imagine the taste of a regular cup of coffee as a sound. It would probably sound like this. Not nice, but perhaps it may sound like this. Better, but not great. Now allow us to present the sound of the taste of Star Cafe Premium Coffee. Now that's the sound of a great coffee taste. Because only the finest Ugandan coffee goes into making the Star Cafe Premium. It's great. The greatest coffee experience.
Stuck in the same meal routine. Stuck in the same meal routine. Stuck in the same meal routine. Don't live life on repeat. Enjoy Minute Maid Refresh, full of flavor to refresh every meal. After all, meal times are more filled with life when you are refreshed. So fill those precious moments with a refreshing burst of flavor with Minute Maid Refresh in delicious mango, apple, and orange flavors. Minute Maid, filled with life.
The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back from the break. We've discussed UNOC and UNOC operations in Uganda. We hope that they'll manage, and you could hear the skepticism or in Namfi's voice and comments. We have another guest. We have another guest in the studio. She's Rebecca Mokite. Rebecca is the head of public and international relations at the UCC Uganda Communications Commission. Public relations, yes. International relations, what does that mean? And welcome to the Capital Gang. I guess we're having you for the first time here.
Yes, you are. Good morning, Oscar. Good morning, our listeners. Good morning, is Namfi and Honorable Semuju.
And Mr. Moses Biaruhanga, Mr. Ivan Rugamba.
Okay. You asked about international relations. Well,
at UCC.
Regulating the communications sector requires us to align our service provision to international standards because, as you're aware, communication goes beyond the geographical boundaries of Uganda. And that standardization process requires us to plug into
international standards.
Yeah.
There's also the issue that the biggest telecoms in Uganda are foreign as well. So I thought you were going to mention that.
No, that is not the context of international relations. This international relations is by the Communications Act of 2013. It has a section, I think, one of the provisions is for us to represent the government in international ICT fora, because a lot of some of the standards related to communications are created in a treaty environment.
So you have
with international
relations with MTN in South Africa and
no.
Airtel in India?
No,
not at all.
That's not the context of international relations.
Mine was now a different question. So you have no relations with South Africa regarding MTN or India regarding Airtel? You just deal with them here?
Yes, we serve Ugandans.
Okay, now the reason I invited UCC is on the issue of switching off lines of people. 2 weeks ago, one of our listeners, Tony Kent, as they said, there's a burning issue you need to bring to gang, and I did not think it was very burning until my line was cut off. And my line has a lot of money on it. I have, Moses doesn't believe me that I can have 500,000. And he doesn't believe that is a lot of money on my line. About 100,000. Pardon? 500 Uganda shillings. This MTN, they have Uganda shillings. Airtime is there. Data is there. And my data is, I think, time, what do you call it? Time, the ones you say monthly and so on.
Okay.
And now they've switched it off. And when I switched it off, I entered the business and I found out a lot of people's lines are switched off.
I need to give you a bit of context before we come to the point of switching off, which happened on 12th November. The regulation, the RICA
Act. Mine
Act
wasn't switched off 12th November. It was switched off last week.
Okay. Because there is a cleanup process that is ongoing. I need to take a few steps back to create the context of where this has come from. I'm sure listeners are aware that communication services, I think, came to Uganda in 1998. That is mobile communication services. And up until 2010, there was no requirement to have an identity behind the numbers. Remember, the numbers are issued through SIM cards, and that is how you access communication services, SIM cards of the telecom providers. Now, in 2010, the RICA, it's the Regulation of Interception of Communications Act of 2010. I'll call it RICA, Act of 2010, obliged telecom providers to register all their subscribers to have a KYC. At that time, we did not have, that was in 2010, there was no national identity card. So, one, this process came in after people had already subscribed to the services. Two, it came in at a time where we did not have that national ID. And they were using all forms of IDs, including passports, work IDs, village IDs, any form of identification at the time. Come 2018, then the national ID came in. When the national ID came in, the act that brought in the national ID then required, it was 2015, thank you, required that, required that that was the official identification that was going to be used for, including telecommunication services. So that's the process, that's the background as to why there has been different iterations to this process. First it wasn't there, then it came in without the national ID, then the national ID came in. Now, that same act, Section 9 of that act, has specific provisions that point to the requirement for a regulation. In May 2023, this year, the Ministry of Security issued the RICA regulations of 2023. Now, one of the provisions of those regulations was that the telecom providers had to go back and clean up their databases to ensure that all subscribers had a national ID and biometrics. In between that regulation and the onset of the national ID, I forgot to include the fact that even the biometrics came in retrospectively. So it's a process that has been, should I call it continuous improvement, to clean up the database, but it's all aimed at creating an identity behind the numbers, which for all intents and purposes is well intended for all stakeholders who are involved.
I like the bit where you say well intended. But Namfi, you take the lead on this one. In the last cutoff, I think it must have been about 2017, 2018, we sat here and I told Semoju that we have a bullying government. And at that time, Semoju supported the registration and all. So you have, you have one that comes and says, now put in, and they cut you off. So in between, I spoke to Rebecca. I wasn't able to speak to her boss, the acting ED, Irene. And is there some mediocrity somewhere, because even as we register now, like now I'm going to register the national ID where they can't even spell my name right. So even if I register now, in another 2 years, they'll come up with something and then cut off a line. And then I just have to waste time, go to this telecom company. How do we work?
You see, Oscar, the thing is, the idea is good. What she has explained, the rationale and reasoning behind it.
You can't register three times.
You have to balance your good intentions with good governance and convenience, because these are people's lives you run, not some cattle. You see, with cattle, you can just, just randomly wake up and you move them from Mitoma to Chigezi. And, they'll be fine.
Which is not true, because
but even
Moses here, let me tell you, what Moses had a manager, and he asked the manager, how much grass does this cow take? And the manager told him like 1 wheelbarrow. So Moses had a big argument. What is that in kilos?
You see, even when you get Moses's fancy cows, because they are more on the elite planned cow side, and you move them from Kayunga and take them to Gulu. No, these days they have land in Gulu. and take them there, because you've got some 6 square miles at 5,000 shillings in Noya per acre. They will be affected. They will not feed well. Moses will tell you, they will not feed well. Their milk production will be affected. So bringing it back to, then what happens with humans if you think you're going to run their lives like that? But you see, the issue comes with this normalization of this kind of thing. We have a government that just wakes up and makes a decision and then wakes up. But we have to hold them accountable. And you see, with these, because these networks are not people-friendly. We have a joke of the evil triangle between MTN, Wumeme, and government, who takes pleasure in torturing the citizenry. Because you see, MTN,
with the help of UCC,
it is part of that convoluted circle.
Yeah.
The other one is the inner circle. Now these ones, UCC, Airtel and others come in the next circle, but it's an axis of evil that just endlessly tortures Ugandans. But you see, the thing is that they get away with it all the time and every time, and no one holds them accountable. So that is why this nice lady here comes and speaks about these things as if they are normal. They don't know. You here, Oscar, you speak about it like this frustrated me. It really, because you have money, you have what? You're using transactions, people are trying to reach you, they can't reach you. They keep saying the number has been switched off and you don't even have any reason. And they usually they don't even give advance warnings.
Someone wrote that their business line is off for 2 weeks.
You would think
and
this is North Korea.
On that.
You see, these are the things we should find in North Korea, not Uganda. There are ways of doing this. For example, the reason why
Indeed,
then
Uganda
behave
is
like a democratic country. You see, it's not enough.
Okay.
Justice, in law we say,
don't respond to Ivan.
justice not only needs to be done, but has to be seen to be done.
Yes, last
democracy
sentence, so talk around
should not
this.
only be done, practiced, but it needs to be seen to be practiced.
Well.
So acts like these are North Korean things. So I think as a country that boasts of being one of the most the best democracies in the region, this is way off the mark. So no, but Oscar, how do we then hold them accountable? Because it should be these networks, MTN, that push back on behalf of our,
how do we
because
hold
we
them
give them money.
accountable?
Yes,
We want Rebecca to respond to that in a few minutes. Moses, there's a big crisis. The government, your government, has agreed on people exportation. And a lot of people out in the diaspora have money on their phones, and that money is now locked up with foreign telecom companies.
Because
it is a case. I maybe that's why Abdu has absconded from the show today, because he went to court on that very issue, and he never got a resolution on the money that they are seated on.
So. Well,
it's a crisis.
It's a court case.
And the way you love Ugandans, the way you want to improve, pump fuel and so on, your love for Ugandans should really do something about these people.
Well, foreign middlemen, I don't know.
No, on telecoms and money and everything.
First of all, I think what UCC needs to do is, they are doing a good thing, but they should do it better. Even last Saturday
gone?
Last Saturday and Sunday, my phone was off.
Even yours?
I didn't know why. I don't know the phone
now,
about.
Even Moses's.
My phone was off. So, no, it's in my names. You can check. It's in my names. So I called the MD the following day, Monday, the MD of UTL. I said, why is my phone off? Then
Samuel on Monday, I'm going to call MD of MTN.
so she explained to me that about this, what Rebecca just explained here. And I said, we had done that. We had done that before.
Twice.
We had done that. So either the problem was UCC side or the telecom side. Anyway, it was resolved in a few. I said, when my team's going to contact you, they will do what they ask what they want. I gave them what they wanted, and it was resolved. But maybe, since at least I could access WhatsApp, maybe they would have sent messages to phones. ABCD. They could have done better. But if they were just, I don't know, maybe advertising in the newspapers, I don't know how they did it, but it's important for security that phones can be traced.
Yeah.
Because phones are used in criminal cases and so on and so forth. It's important, but maybe the method how they are doing it is what they need to improve on. I didn't know that was the issue. If I had been informed, I would have given them what they wanted. In any case, I gave it to them anyway.
Moses, what they could do as well, I remember with ID, Ivan, at least you did, the national ID people went into the diaspora. They put out adverts and say, on these dates we shall be in Canada, on this one will be in the US, this one will be in London. And then people in the diaspora were able to go and register.
What I want to ask UCC, why is, up to now, the tracing the phone to the owner are still two different things. Maybe this process will help. Because you send money to someone and say, hey, this is registered in the other name, the phone, I'm using it as Moses Biarhanga. I say, no, the on money mobile, it is in the other names. So why the disparity?
Happens all the time. Like my daughters use my phone, so it happens all the time.
It's okay. No.
You just have to be rational about things.
No. It needs to be clarified, because also on the security point of view, who is the owner of the phone? Is it me who is using the phone, or the one who is registered for money mobile? It's important
but don't put yourself in such a narrow jacket. As I've told you, your nephew could have your phone because they are underage, they can't register, and then you have to send them money, and they are living out of the country.
To be clear, but you hear somebody, for instance, on other radios, they are which they will give money, or after if somebody has won something, and you hear, I'm so and so. But the phone you are saying,
but Moses,
the money is...
Moses, you are the one who asked Semuju, have you ever done a business? Don't be in a straight jacket like that.
Semuju has never done it. That one.
That's very secret business.
Ivan, on your own speaker now.
I need to know the secret.
I'm going to investigate and then find out.
Just as we shall invite Nira here to talk about expired national ID, so that maybe make money off him. I don't know, but for now, UCC.
Don't make money out of the money is the revenue of government of Uganda.
It is a big thing. No one is telling me where that money is. Where is my money on MTN? The one that they have blocked.
And
they're going to return to government.
And
I beg your pardon?
MTN did one time issue a statement about that money. And they said this money is escrowed and will be returned to government at some point.
But who accounts for it?
Of course, it's not escrowed. It's making interest somewhere and forex trading.
And anyhow, you know the question you're asking.
Yeah.
Many people, in fact, have been conflating the mandates of UCC and NIRA. So, in fact, in the field there, people have been asking NIRA officials to explain where their IDs are being...
And Nafi has told us that you are all the same.
I'm being switched off. So first of all, the function of regulating SIM cards and all is primarily the function of UCC and the telecom companies. It is not... NIRA only provides a facilitating role to the extent that we authenticate the identity card, the identity documents, and specifically the national identity card, which the telecom companies use as a basis for authorizing. No. I can give more information on the subject I am knowledgeable about. I'm knowledgeable about. Just like when it comes to the question of parliament, how you
Ivan, some of these things, when they get personal, like when I renew my ID, it is going to be in my names.
Yes.
Right now, it is not in my name.
Yes.
And yes, because it is in Musoke Oscar Semweya.
And your name?
And my name is Oscar Semweya Musoke. So I've had to let me tell you, I've had to go and do legal documents.
The form,
The good thing is I have a copy.
To say those two people
you see, Oscar.
The good thing is I have a copy.
Yes.
So don't even tackle me on that
is
one.
Very good.
I have the copy.
Because you see, when you register,
yes,
you NIRA retains a scanned copy of the original form you submitted. And so when you come with a complaint about a mistake, NIRA goes back to the system.
Ivan, do you know the mess I'm in? Now when I get my name corrected, I'll go back to the telecoms, I'll go back to the banks, I'll go back to my bank loan.
The matter of security all over the world matters of security are becoming very, very complex. The such as you travel a lot and all the number of inconveniences you have to undergo everywhere are very serious. So this is part.
But
it's
at
not
what
a cover
point?
for incompetence. And I don't
Ivan,
think it is,
at what point shall we talk about incompetence?
Okay, I don't think it is incompetence. It is. I think it could have been negligence, not incompetence.
You have even made it worse.
No. Because
it's incompetence that stems from hiring the worst people because of nepotism.
Don't use that M word.
The error or the omission, in fact, the right word is the omission that the UCC did, and which Moses said, and which I agree could have done better, is they could have run an advanced campaign, sensitization campaign, of the public, of the public, on national radios, on things on national radios, on papers, on phones.
Thank you.
Although I know, for example, we've been receiving me. For example, I verified my line. They sent me threats. I went to the service center there and authenticated.
They should have sent to me as well.
Mid, like around May, by the way, like around May. So me, I did mine, but. What the other Oscar finally, the problem, and which this panel should also accept or acknowledge here, which this panel should acknowledge here is that Ugandans, unless it is an emergency or unless it is crisis time, they are reluctant to respond to advance warnings or alerts, because these phones, these alerts for me, at least like on my phone, I will receive. If they send out to adverts on television, on radio, on SMSs, they send you text messages, and Moses watches CNN.
I will talk about it another time. We've talked about Chigo thinkers. It's a question of legitimacy and trust, and Ugandans have very poor trust in you.
Okay, maybe
Semuju, before I go for a break.
The thing is also influenced by Semuju. So that is where the problem is.
Honorable Semuju. The Ivan is, and this happens to many people who are NRM related. They have that superiority complex, telling us we are not clever, we do last minute and so on. But these telecom companies, the way they advertise 5G, which I don't know who has. Like today we are having a problem with internet, but they advertise all these things that yes, internet is also under UCC, and I don't know who has 5G internet. So these are things that they really need to improve. So for you, is it incompetence? Is it he has taken it now a notch higher, negligence, which is even illegal? Negligence is illegal. I have some John.
You see, let me use Rwanda, Oscar. I visited Rwanda, and I lived to tell this story. So I go to
those days when they still liked you.
They don't have to like me, but I can still visit. I went to what they call one-stop center. My first question: did all the aged people die during the genocide? So the guy told me, no, they can't manage. Here, you have to deliver. As you enter, there is a compliance office, so someone monitoring documents on a computer. So if a document is supposed to stay in your office for 20 minutes, at 25 you
Someone has told me here, online lives matter. Now we don't have online. People are so annoyed across the world. It's a global thing.
So you have to explain why you are still holding on to that document. Historically, there has been a problem. I remember when I went to work at Monda, the reason I wanted to join the government was that you don't have to deliver. People work in the government, you just dress your chair with your coat and go to Masaka to give an impression, because the court is there, that you are available. So that hasn't, there is a slight improvement, but not to the levels of Rwanda. I highly doubt that we will get there, because I don't see the motivation. It's just in the videos that you can go. I was very happy when I went to the immigration, and I thanked people who are there. You can see for passport.
Be clear.
You can see. No. They were not serving me, but the lines and the I don't care attitude that used to.
No, for passport they are good.
So there is a very big improvement. I don't want to say because there are soldiers there, including one I was with at the university, but you can see improvement that you don't see in many other government. People who work with the government tend to think that they are accountable to themselves, so they can back at people, they can do that. I'm not accusing UCC yet. I am just speaking generally. I am just speaking generally about government, and they need to improve. In Dubai,
someone says, why do we still have Bafere? Even as recently as this week, they are still active. It was Airtel this time. after multiple verifications. Then she continues, incompetence and negligence just. So much trash is sent to us, adverts of their products on our SMS. So if another SMS comes through mixed in with their ads, who is going to read all of that? And even when you've seen it, what matters? Another one said it is good they've now put some bundles that don't expire, or data bundles that don't expire, but what happens to all that have expired?
So every end of year in Dubai, there is a competition between state enterprises and private. And they go to award and people move across depending on their performance. The first time we are required to register, as she explained, was because now we had been issued with the ID. My understanding was that I mean the ID when the IDs came and we were all ordered.
That was the second time.
No, I am not. No, I'm talking about the requirement.
You're talking about that time we argued. Yeah, that was the second time.
The requirement that please go and register now. You have an ID.
Yeah.
I had thought that this is where it will stop. I didn't know that.
For me, in between, I also registered again.
We will be headed back to those registration centers that please go and verify. There was even a thread. My wife kept telling me they are going to cut. I said, okay, let them cut off. I am not going back. I'm tired of registering. So the registration, once the registration has become too many, and you cannot easily distinguish from the first one and the second and the third, people are not stubborn, but you get tired. So someone has got to explain why I have to periodically have to register my number. In fact, me, I haven't bothered. I am waiting for my numbers to be switched off and then find someone to quarrel with. But at the moment, they haven't. I don't know which criteria they are using to switch off Yarohanga and Oscar and then leave me out. Or maybe they have started with you. Mine is another day. So I have visited the UCC. You have
taught me the habits of quarreling. Someone, because there's no internet even here.
Yeah.
And I just said now that I never thought they'd cut me off. I've registered 3 times. So now they've cut me off.
So the big
enjoying
problem,
the quarrel.
Oscar, we never do anything to its completion. When you had General Aronda, he treated it as if for him was a matter of life and death. The level of discipline, by the soldiers are very disciplined people. We start to, you see, each time they organize the workshop for MPs, you sit with Aronda from the beginning to the end. Other ministers send the juniors send another junior. The registration that was supposed to have covered the whole country seemed to have stagnated somewhere. I don't know why. Because this one who works with NIDA cannot say now with certain that everybody now is registered.
Okay.
Such that you don't have Oscar registering his number in Biarohanga's name, because the reason
you can't do it. You can't do that now.
They do it. You ask Biarohanga to go and register a number for you because your ID is not there. Because if it was a requirement that today onward, like it is in Rwanda, everybody must be registered. Because people you'll find, because at the beginning they said you can't register more than 3 lines.
Yeah.
I don't know how many they allow now. I think 10. I mean, why should someone register 10?
No, we have children.
Yeah,
but children. We have a judge. Yes,
they should find a way.
Yeah. Because one of the ways to do it is they can come to my house and count
but
them.
Also,
but also we don't have a census.
Children were supposed to have been registered and issued with the numbers.
They did, but very, very slowly.
For how many years? That level of yes. But mine born 17 years ago, up to now they are still chasing for their ID.
Let's stop for a break.
The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
Tugene Muchikade presents the Father Mother Edition, Made of Uganda, on 2nd December 2023 at Kampala Serena Hotel, featuring Mariam Dagiri, Sophie Natogo, Dengoni, Theo Benasolo, Queen Florence, Cute Kaye, Gerald Chiwewa, alongside Jonesy Band. Enters as 100K ordinary, 150K Father and Mother ticket, 300K gold, and 3 million free platinum table. Come with your mama, tata, and family. Call 0774 982 040. Dress code Chikade.
Powered by Capital FM. Capital FM. Fresh hits for Uganda.
B Plus Furniture Showroom, located at former Game Lugogo, is holding its first ever Black Friday sale this Friday 24th November to Monday 27th November. With up to 50% discounts, you can grab yourself a sofa, dining, or that complete bedroom set you've always dreamed of. And that's not all. With every purchase comes free delivery around Kampala. Come and experience 4 days of amazing sales with unbeatable prices. B Plus, luxury at its finest.
Start and end your day with Uganda's best cup of fresh New Cafe and Omukago coffee. Omukago coffee is a blend of Robusta and Arabic coffee, while New Cafe is 100% Arabic coffee with the best aroma in the land. Get yourself a packet from our factory outlet at Coffee House, Ginger Road, and all big supermarkets like Quality Supermarkets, Mega Standard, Crown Supermarkets, Port Bell Supermarket, Joma Supermarkets, and so many more in different sizes at different prices. For more, please visit our website at www.newcafe.org or call us on 0741 996 466. New Cafe and Omukago Coffee are quality products from New Cafe, National Union of Coffee, Agribusiness and Farm Enterprises Limited.
The Capital Gang on 91.3 Capital FM.
Welcome back from the gang. Poor Rebecca, she has not had a good break. The feeling on the table. Pardon? No, she's taking water only. She'll have a banana later, but she's not had a good break. So, but now,
so can I have a go at it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me put a second microphone on to you, Ivan put, and I'll take the photograph of it to post later. Who was in the hot seat? Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, gangsters. You're speaking on behalf of Ugandans, but allow me to update your information. The good thing, we're at
when
the point where everybody
says
we're at the point where everybody appreciates that SIM card registration is important and it is required. You don't want to have people or ghosts behind numbers. That's why I said in the beginning that it's well intended. The second thing I have to emphasize is that SIM card registration has been ongoing since 2010. It didn't start this year. It didn't start in 2015. From the time the Riker Act was passed, SIM card registration became a requirement on the telecommunication services.
Say when it will stop.
No. So, but because at that, I gave that background, but you need to understand that this has been a process that has been improving continuously because one, it's been happening retrospectively. It was overtaken by events. First of all, we were using identity cards. Now remember when we got our national IDs, they had both a name and a biometric. But initially, the registration only required the national ID. However, we all know that there are multiple names. There are so many people who have the same name, where the only differentiator or unique differentiator is the biometric. Now, the biometric was then introduced in the SIM card registration process so that we can be able to differentiate between Rebecca Mukite from Nansana and Rebecca Mukite from Boyogedede, because they would have different biometrics. Now, once the biometric system was introduced, or the API and the biometric function, then we required people to go back to their service providers to get the biometrics captured. Along the way, we have complemented this process with self-check mechanisms for users. We developed the 197 interface, which is supported by SMS, whereby you could check yourself the status of your registration. That was the first step. But also, the SIM card registration process was being conducted by human beings. So it is definitely subject to error and abuse, because human beings are fallible.
Because human beings are incompetent.
They are fallible by nature. So what happened?
They are incompetent. That's what you meant.
No. They are fallible by nature and corruptible.
I disagree.
So,
you have to put in a system.
Let me finish, because at the end of the day, even with systems in place, there is a human interface in the process. You're not doing this through a machine. You're doing it by interfacing with an agent. Now, there were two scenarios. There were some errors of...
Don't, before you leave that fallibility thing.
Let me finish. Let me finish this point before I lose it. Before, there are two aspects to this. There are the genuine errors where someone's details are not captured well, where the biometric was not full, they didn't put their finger fully there or long enough. Those errors were there in the database. But then there was also scenarios of agents who were rogue, who were using people's biometrics and IDs multiple times to register redundant numbers. So you would find that you would go to an agent and they would tell you, try again. I don't think I captured that well. Try again. But every time you tried, they would capture your profile and attach a number to it. And that's how we got into a situation where you would have multiple registrations with the same biometric and national ID, but then those numbers were now floating, and they were the ones which were being mostly abused by the Bafere and all these other people who there were gaps in the national ID, the rate at which the national IDs were coming out. So that gap, the human component, is what then created that error. But because this exercise has had so many iterations and it's not fully within the control of Uganda Communications Commission, we are implementing a law that sits with the Ministry of Security. So when that guideline comes out, we do not have much flexibility or any flexibility to play around with the provisions in the guidelines. We're supposed to support its implementation. At the same time, we are not directly in control of undertaking the registration. Is being done by telecom providers. So we find ourselves in a place where we are supporting the implementation of a law and a regulation that we don't fully own, but we have to support its implementation. And then the actual registration is also being done by the companies we regulate. So how we come in is to ensure that the different stakeholders thrive in a balanced way. This last switch off one was not targeted for all subscribers. No. It was targeting people who had either missing biometrics or a national ID profile. So what happened, because the networks have visibility of the database, the networks were reaching out directly to these people because we wanted to have as minimum disruption to the service as possible. That's the first thing. But that doesn't underscore the fact that we've had the 197 campaign ongoing continuously for the last over 5 years. And that, I'm also disappointed that Oscar is shocked because that campaign has been running on all our platforms, on radio, on TV, but even on phones, even when you call.
But Rebecca, let's go back a little bit.
So
let's go back. Hold on.
Okay.
No, you still have time. That fallibility is more like incompetence. If you have a builder of a studio in which you are seated, and I start talking about fallibility, it means if this roof collapses, you just smile away and say human fallibility. No, you have to put in measures to combat such fallibility and not disguise incompetence. You have
measures have been
to give the measures
established
to the telecom companies.
Those measures,
and tell them that they must deliver in this particular way.
Those measures have been put in place. And that's why this process has had many iterations. Right now, the point where we're at, there was a time where SIM cards would be sold everywhere. But all those processes have been reined in and standardized that right now, it's close to impossible for you to find a SIM card out of a service center. The second thing is that the telecom providers have now ID'd or profiled their agents, meaning that they know that this number that Namfi has was activated by our agent Musoke, who is in Kamuli in area code 3. Now, because they profiled the agents to that level of accuracy, it has caveated the human errors that I was talking about, because those are processes. The process has been self-improving over the years. And
so how soon will you return with another re-registration? In 2 years' time?
Every time we audit and there are gaps, every time we audit and there are gaps, because we have all...
Answer. You should be saying this is complete
because
now. Because I don't have time to come back
right
again.
now.
But let me ask, how many users how many users do we have on the telephone lines?
Right now we have over 46 million
46 million. So, of the 46 million...
Of the 46 million,
hold on.
1.4 were the ones that were affected.
Of the 46 million, how many birthday do you have? You'd be less than a million. So you can't make rules to target less than a million.
No. This exercise is not targeting Bafere.
Yes.
This exercise is targeting every user of communication services in Uganda that has a SIM card. Okay? We believe that as we continue along the road, because right now we've ensured that all the active numbers have both a biometric and a national ID. We are now going to go back. To asking people to check using 197 still to determine what numbers
197
hash to determine what numbers are registered in your name, so that
I'm
then
going to check after the show
should
before you
any
leave.
other number come up that you're not accountable for, okay, then it is incumbent on you to now go back to the service provider and say, I'm seeing these numbers, these are the only ones I know.
Okay.
Now, until everyone does that, then we shall have a clean
You need to put these
database.
adverts out the way you do 5G adverts. Ivan, don't distract her yet. She's on microphone. So just let me give you a minute of you to say something good, because you can see the anger on the table. So what is good? Can you say something like, we are going to give you better data services, or as UCC?
Yes, we are doing a lot of things.
You will use 1 minute to do that.
There's been a bit of disruption to internet services because of the ongoing infrastructure work in the city. There have been cable cuts, and that has disrupted internet service here and there. But please bear with us and our broader stakeholders. That is going to be managed. However, I call on the public to dial star 197 hash. Okay? Check IDs. Then you have to enter your NIN. When you enter your NIN, it will show you all the numbers that are registered.
Don't worry.
Using your national ID.
I'm going to do it with you after
now,
the
should
show.
a number
I'll take
appear?
a photograph or video of me checking, and then we do. So,
service provider.
No, every service provider will show you
theirs.
Oh.
But that means I can't do it on my MTN because you've cut it off.
Please visit a service center. You'll be reconnected. I need to add that the numbers that were disconnected on 12th November have a 90-day period within which to regularize.
And if they don't, will they get their money
back?
back?
At the end of 90 days, I'm coming to the mobile money. At the end of the 90 days, they will be reallocated, or they will be returned to the pool where they can be allocated to other users.
Okay.
However,
data.
This process is not affecting the mobile money on those lines.
So
they
on my
can still
MTN,
withdraw. You can get that money off that line. You can pay a bill. You can transact using that money. However, you cannot add money onto that line. But the money that's on that line, you can remove it.
Okay.
Even after the 90 days, still, Bank of Uganda has provisions in place to enable people who will have lost their numbers completely to get their money. So nobody is going to lose mobile money.
You should give me an advert to play on Capital Gang all the time that says, hold on, you ask Alon because she's still here. In the last 10 minutes, I want to go to opposition MPs in Uganda. Honorable Semuju. So, this is you see, Honorable Semuju, the opposition in Uganda, 2023 has not been good. So even when you try to do something good, there's a problem. I thought we shall speak about the speaker's actions today, but then I saw you the other day speaking about the opposition's actions.
Which opposition's action?
The way some people are going to parliament, they've refused to follow the boycotts, and others complaining in corners and so on.
Being opposed by
indeed.
No, but you see.
But let's start with the speaker saying she's going to ban you now that you've refused to go into parliament for 15 sittings.
First of all, I was surprised by that directive by the speaker. Because Parliament...
hold on, Rebecca. We shall do them after the show.
Presided over by the Deputy Speaker, gave government 30 days within which to account for the missing persons. And the countdown started, ending on 19th of this month. What was supposed to have happened was the Speaker now to sanction government for not accounting for the people like Parliament had ordered. How that Speaker abandons that countdown of government and then starts another countdown of opposition, I don't understand. Because at least I left Parliament when Parliament had ordered that government must account for the missing persons within 30 days. And the government said it will be ready with a comprehensive statement. In fact, I was waiting only to be shocked that the Speaker has now abandoned the countdown of government. They have started their own countdown. It will be very difficult. You see, decisions of Parliament and the rulings of the Speakers are very complicated to reverse. That's why the Speaker cannot give one ruling today and another tomorrow. So in this particular case, every opportunity, whether I meet the Speaker or I return to Parliament, I returned to and that's the quarrel I had with Kadaga at one time, because Oranya came to Parliament and said during the removal of the age limit that this is the order that we will follow. Immediately Kadaga arrives, she changes the order. That's why when I was asked, please, you must respect the chair and the seat, I said, no, the chair must respect the rules. If you don't respect them, don't ask me to respect you. So for me, I'm still demanding that government accounts for the missing persons as ordered by Parliament within 30 days. So this new countdown by the Speaker, I don't take it, because we have one that we are supposed to have fulfilled.
Well,
so
what if she says, now I have banned you?
Then the law will take its course. That's what I told Kadaga, that I am not here, because even you, the Speaker, you are a creature of the rules. If you don't respect them, you don't ask me to respect them. We must all respect them. So the Speaker cannot begin a new countdown before we have resolved the first countdown of government explaining the fate of the missing person. So that's where for me I am.
But it is not helpful if people of the opposition...
No, Oscar, I have been in Parliament now for 12 years. MPs are very difficult.
Yeah.
You will have some MPs, even on a matter that is very obvious, and they are disturbing. You remember when General Muntu came to ask me to serve as a chief opposition whip, I had declined. I said, no, I cannot superintend on MPs because of discipline. And then he said, you will not choose how you're going to train you. I was a chief opposition whip. I stand up and state a position of my party, FDC, and then the first people to shoot down are FDC MPs. So you leave Parliament troubled every day. And this is not going to happen. It's not this one. This is not the only matter where you'll have people defying. Even NRM has the same problem. That's why they were chasing Sechikubo and Nwagaba and Tinka Simere, because you deal with human beings who at one time, either a fraction or a percentage, will say, I don't agree with what you are saying.
Don't use those words of human beings, because then you give Rebecca a line.
I don't see a crisis, Oscar. We are 107 opposition MPs. If 10, even if 20 choose to go back and work with NRM, then we remain with 80. I don't see any problem.
Okay. Moses Peranga. On opposition and the Speaker.
That's why they cut his number, not following. Now he's asking which one. Were you not in the studio?
No. He called you.
Go on, Moses, on the opposition.
No, he asked you specifically on a matter.
Moses, the opposition itself is not helping themselves in not fully being united on the position that their leader has taken.
Well, you see, the opposition, if you study it carefully, we have had here FDC, Katonga, FDC, Entebbe Road,
Everyone going out with the registration books.
No. But now
some of these things, Moses says them with a smile.
See, you might for you are looking at it at parliamentary level, but you will say there is now this is something you cannot go to Najananku
unless he has written his will.
If he has gone there, he has climbed a wall to enter Najananku, or if he gets in, you have climbed a wall to get out. So if they are at that level, how do you expect them to speak one voice in the house? Yeah. So even within NUP, you hear also so many things going on. You hear the LOP, Matthias Mpuga, the group which supports him, the one which is opposed to him within their own system. So I don't even that position they took was well understood among themselves. Or did they discuss it? Was it just because they are supposed to have a shadow cabinet? Was it a shadow cabinet decision which didn't involve all the others? So I think, the Speaker, as the leader of the House, she knows the rules she's applying. Let's see what comes out.
Okay.
But I think, but also,
Ivan?
Before that, there was also, I heard the Speaker also mention that some were not attending the House, the plenary, but going to the committees and then even signing committee reports. When it comes to deployment outside the country, some are going outside the country, then her position was, if you're out of the House, you're out of the House. So meaning all activities of the House, you're out of them. So don't be one leg here, one leg there. So they had also big... They
are challenging that position is not
They are also better...
They are out of a plenary.
Well, the House is House. Anyway, a House is... A committee is part of the plenary.
No, it is not.
It reports to the plenary. Because if you are going to say we are going to how if supposing you write a minority report,
they report after the boycott.
Supposing you write a minority report in the committee,
okay.
How will you present
Ivan on the boycott and Speaker's actions?
You know the Speaker's actions and the opposition reaction to it have been very interesting because it is only on matters of parliament where the Semujus, the Matthias Mpugas and all will be at their best mannerisms, at their best behaviors. Because otherwise you would have seen press conferences denouncing so and so, throwing names, throwing at the expletives again, but they have...
No, that was only one MP.
Many have
and
been
in disciplinary proceedings.
Okay, I think that the president said. But you see, I think that what has been happening between the Matthias Mpuga-led opposition and government has been a constructive process, and I think everybody should support that process.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that process, and I think that the idea of giving government a period of deadline, to say we need this to happen, should be supported because they want accountability, and government has a responsibility to provide that accountability. So I don't think that anybody
in many ways he has been an organized leader of opposition.
So and I don't think so anybody should frustrate that process, because also the opposition have to
leave the two of you truly, deeply and madly in love. DoubleTree Tours and Travel takes you anywhere to make your dreams come true. It could be whining at the Burj Khalifa, cuddling at the Eiffel Tower, or chilling by the white sand beaches in Barbados. DoubleTree Tours and Travel. Dream it and we'll fly you there. 0704 310 130. Be truly, deeply and madly in love with luxury and honeymoon destinations from DoubleTree Tours and Travel.